Let's get into this debate. We mentioned it earlier about Elliot Anderson being picked for Scotland, pulling out of the squad with a, quote, knock. But it looks like he may be deciding England's the way after all. And Harvey Barnes has been talked about as well. I'll let you gather your thoughts on that in a moment. But Steve Clarke was asked in his press conference today whether there's any truth in the reports that Barnes could choose to play for Scotland.
We want the best players we can possibly get. If they're eligible for Scotland and they've got a chance to play for us and they can improve the squad that I've got, which is not an easy thing to do. And I get all the story around it because we're playing England, so you want to speak about Elliot, you want to speak about Harvey. I quite like speaking about the boys that I've got because they've put us in a really good position and they deserve a lot of credit for that.
That's one way to keep the current players on side, so we want to talk about them. But I don't know if you're aware, but it is big news up here. The Scottish Sun saying homeward to think again. That's Elliot Anderson pulling out. Ando has a change of heart. The Daily Record up here went one further and said that Southgate, it actually says Southgate reveals sneaky English are trying to pinch Newcastle midfield ace Anderson from Scots on the eve of Hampden battle with the headline "You're nicked." I'm not quite sure he revealed that, Gareth Southgate. He's been involved with the England setup at junior level, but more so with the Scotland setup. His granny was Scottish, moved to Whitley Bay. That's where he was born. He is English. And I was speaking to, he was on loan at Bristol Rovers a couple of seasons ago, and I was just messaging Joey Barton, his manager there earlier. He said he's English. He's a Geordie, and he's English. He should be playing for England. He thinks he will go on to play for England. He actually compared him to Maradona when he was in League Two with Bristol Rovers. Not that Joey goes too far sometimes, but this is the bit that kind of puzzles me. And I understand the rules wouldn't be broken if Elliot Anderson played for Scotland, but he is English. Do you not want somebody... Isn't it about how you feel? You can be born in England but still feel Scottish, but I wonder how Scottish he feels when it's just his grandma who was from Scotland.
Yeah, and I totally understand that, but ultimately, for the player, he has to make the right decision what's best for him and his family. And if his family, and Gareth has phoned him up to say, listen, we want to get you involved in the England national team squad, he's got something to think about, you know. Harvey Barnes will be the same. You know, we as Scots can't be too picky in terms of how somebody is, where they're born. If they're good enough to play for Scotland, and it's going, like Steve said, it's going to improve our squad, it's going to give us the best opportunity to get to major tournaments, then they're welcome. In you come, no problem at all. And it happens in France and other countries as well. You know,
well, so half the French team that won the World Cups and won the Euros,
yeah, they're Africans.
weren't born in France, were they?
No, that's true, but they were given a home at a young age by France, and I understand if they do, it should be about what's in your heart. I mean, maybe I'm being idealistic, but it should be essentially one country's best against another country's best. And if you are given a home, an education, almost like given a family of friends by a country.
But you say that then, okay, what if both your parents are Scottish, but you're born in England?
You may feel more Scottish.
Well, so
yeah, it's about how you feel. It's what's in your heart.
Ultimately, it comes down to who are you going to be more successful for.
Yeah.
If you have equal opportunity to play for both teams, and it's, let's say, you know, Scotland are guaranteed to get to a quarter-finals of every tournament. England are guaranteed to get. Then you can say, well, actually, I've got a decision. I'm going to play in those games. But if you're going to go, well, I'm going to play for England, and I've got a chance of making latter stages of tournaments, or I'm going to play, and I'm going to play in that team, or I'm going to play for Scotland, and I'm going to struggle to make a tournament. You're going to lean towards England. Simple as that. We've seen that in the past.
Ultimately, as well for the profile of the player.
Of course,
yeah, no, I get that.
Because it's about your career and testing yourself at the highest level. So unless you are absolutely die hard to your country, you know, staunch English, Scottish, Welsh, whatever it might be, if you've got that opportunity, why wouldn't you explore that? And this is why, up until England, at the home nations, England have always had the better chance of going deep into tournaments. So it's not until Rice and Grealish played for Ireland, obviously, and then actually we're going to defect to the other side. Before that, there were hundreds of players that played for the 21s, that played for England, that all the way through, and then suddenly went, actually, I'm not going to get a game for England. I'm not good enough to play for England. I'm going to go and play for somebody else. No one moaned at those players for doing it.
Yeah,
it's not a problem. So why should it be any different the other way around? It's an hang on a minute.
And they were born in England.
I am sort of Scottish, but actually, I've got an opportunity to play for England. I could play in a semi-final or a World Cup final.
Yeah, and I think if you look at a lot of our players, born in England, they're looking thinking, am I really going to get in this England squad? And I'm just make an example here. Angus Gunn, good goalkeeper. You know, could have made the decision maybe 3 or 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah. Played for England junior sides.
Yeah, and he's got to a point in his career thought, okay, am I really going to get in this England squad? And obviously his dad played for Scotland, so no, I'm not probably going to get in because of what goalkeepers are ahead of me. There's an opportunity to go play for Scotland, represent the country, maybe, obviously Scotland are going well, we can get to a major tournament, I want to be part of that. He's chosen Scotland. But before, he'd have been thinking, I might get in this England squad, because for ultimately, for his profile, it will definitely help him.
4 clean sheets in 5.
And done unbelievable.
Incredible, yeah.
Patrick Vieira, did he play for Senegal or did he play for France?
France.
Why?
Born in Senegal.
But why?
Played for France. Because France gave him a home.
Well, they also gave him a better opportunity of winning something.
You might feel like he, in circumstances, and I don't know the exact circumstances of Patrick Vieira's upbringing, but in those circumstances, you might feel this is my thank you to my adopted country for giving me the life I've got. That might be a valid reason. That might be in your heart.
It may well be. But
okay,
but I'd also say there's a better opportunity of winning something, and that's the way most.
No, that's true.
That's the way most footballers will think.
I absolutely see that. But I think that there's a point about how many, and you raised the point about how many games you're going to play. So, in brief, an answer on Harvey Barnes, please, because he's been signed by Newcastle for a lot of money. He's going to be playing Champions League football. Newcastle, they're having a great start, are expected to compete at the top end of the Premier League. So would you not, if you're Harvey Barnes, would you not back yourself to continue, he's played once for England, continue your England career? You've got to back yourself, surely. You don't get this far as a professional footballer unless you back yourself.
Yeah, no.
Or do you say, no, I'll take the easy option because I'll get a game every single time.
No, it's not the easy option. You've got to think of what's in front of you. and if you look at that England squad, Foden, Grealish, Saka, Maddison, all going to be around for the next 5 to 10 years.
But what about backing yourself? Do you not?
Yeah, no,
does he not
think
to himself, I could be better than this lot? I can get ahead of this lot.
Of course he does. You believe that.
But there's also
ultimately
a dose of realism.
Yeah, realism. That is he going to get in that squad ahead of these players?
And how long is it going to take him to get to that level? How long is it going to take him to break in and get ahead of those players? Not just get level, because he's going to have to be significantly better than Saka, significantly better than Rashford, significantly better than Foden. Yeah, you're going, actually, realistically, am I going to be part of a squad and sit on the bench forever? Or actually, do I want to go and play international football and have a go and maybe get to a tournament and maybe go and play in a World Cup? Or maybe go and play in a Euro?
Aren't you slightly suspicious as a Scotsman that suddenly Harvey Barnes might play for Scotland when they're about to go to a Euros?
Ultimately, everybody was coming to the woodwork when we qualified for the European Championships. You know, everybody wanted to play for Scotland. They want to be part of it. But that's welcome. That's part of it. When you're in it now, can you go and be consistent? Can we qualify more consistent and play? And I said before, it doesn't matter if they're born in England, wherever. They want to come and play for Scotland, and they're good enough, and they're going to make the team and the squad better.
There is part of me, that I do think that maybe when you sign professional forms, you should almost have to declare your allegiance.
Possibly, yeah.
Or, you know, I don't like the fact that you play for one country and then leave that country and go and play for that. Grates on me a little bit. I think you should have to make a decision early on,
Danny,
because then it takes away that. Well, actually, I've represented my country, and actually now I'm not good enough, or something better offers coming up. I'm going to go and play for somebody else. That's the only bit I don't like about it. But if you've never played for that country, go and play for who you like.
Do you think Evan Ferguson's thinking about it?
I was just going to bring up Evan Ferguson because I want them all to be like him. Because I think he's played too many games to switch from Ireland. I think that's actually the situation we're in right now. But it's irrelevant whether he's played too many games or not, because he's always maintained he will play for Ireland. That's what he felt was in his heart. He's Irish, he was born in Ireland, he wants to play for Ireland. I want every young player to know which country
also the opportunity wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, it was at one point.
Well, but not to play for England.
You can't dismiss him without knowing him.
No, but he wasn't going to play for England full squad when he made those. When he played for Ireland.
Yeah, so now he could have held back, and he would have had people who knew that his dad was a professional footballer. He would have had people who knew that.
Yeah, but you know you're on a rise. But to go where he's gone in the last 18 months has been
9 months. 9 months.
Really, it's been unbelievable.
And in that time, he could still have switched to England, but he can't now. I like the fact that, for me, from everything I've read about him,
and that's what I'm saying.
It was always Ireland.
And if that's how you feel strong enough, nail your colours to the mast and go. That's it. And that's why I think that there should be. I think if you play for the 21s, that should be it. Whether it's a friendly or not, That's the bit
I think
I
under
don't
21s,
like.
I think it's a cut-off.
That's
Under
the bit I
18s
don't
and
like
younger,
about it. Yeah,
the little
that's the
age
bit I
group's
don't
okay.
like about it. If you're playing any sort of game representing your country at under 21 level, that should be it. Done and dusted.
All right, interesting. Harvey Barnes, Elliot Anderson, you've got decisions to make.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.